Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We are getting into the latest sports news for you as usual, so make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Now, here is the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
What's up, everybody? It's Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at IamBrittJohnson. Jackie, what day is it? It's Tacko Tuesday! We're goated forever.
And still Fuzzy Chris Tuesday. It's Fuzzy Chris Tuesday.
You gonna cry in the car.
Ooh, he's clearing up. He's clearing up. Oh, no, he's fuzzy.
Don't lie. Do not lie. Don't lie to him.
You guys, whenever you do that Taco Tuesday at the same time, it's never at the same time, so it's like Taco Tuesday.
I wanted it to be like that because that's how they do it. The family does.
Right. Yes.
That's funny.
Don't try to hate on us just because y'all got home days. Don't do that.
I have this show is throwing a little bit.
You guys are never on the same pitch. We're not trying to be right. Okay?
It's just funny listening to
Well, damn. Everybody's going in on Tuesday.
Chris, we have to get ready for our little thing tomorrow. So everybody tuning in, make sure you
I'm
check
ready.
out. Yeah, we've got it. It's great. I feel very proud of it.
I know, Britt. Are you impressed? Are you
Devin? I'm with you, Devin. Don't worry about them.
I'll wait and see. Maybe they came up with something different. I don't
Yeah,
even
because
think
last week.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, on that note, now that we have successfully insulted one another, let's jump into the first need to know.
Not me.
Chris, like, not me. I'm just fuzzy, but I'm not insulting.
Minding my business.
All right, you guys, let's talk about Jimmy Butler. Okay, so families were allowed in the bubble starting yesterday, but one athlete did not invite anybody at all. So Jimmy Butler said that he did not extend an invitation to anyone because he considers this a business trip and doesn't expect friends or family to join him. He said, quote, "I'm not messing around. Everyone wants to have their family without a doubt, but we've been doing this for this long. What's another couple of months? It's an individual decision, and I respect that decision that my teammates make, but I am here for business." So this is kind of like what we were talking about yesterday, how some of these athletes actually are performing better when they're kind of in this less comfortable environment. They're surrounded by things that are less familiar to them. But I find it interesting that Jimmy has this perspective. It's obviously working for him, though. He's been doing really well. He scored 40 points in the fourth quarter. Yesterday, he turned a 1-point game into a 10-point lead for the Heat. So this is, he's doing well. But this is a theme that he's been carrying throughout the bubble. He's kind of just put the blinders up on everything and everyone around him. He had that in-game confrontation with Chris Paul, and afterwards he said, quote, "I don't care. I don't need friends here in the bubble. I barely leave my room. I'm in my room minding my business. I'm not going to see nobody." So he is not interested in making friends. It sounds like a quote from The Bachelor, like when they go on the show and they're always like, "I'm not here to make friends." So he's not in the bubble to make friends. He doesn't care about seeing his family or anything. So I respect his decision. He's obviously got the right mindset going for him. It's working for him. But Britt, I want to ask you, do you feel more of the NBA athletes should share Jimmy's perspective? I know that you talked about how you felt it might be a distraction for some players to have their friends and family there. So what do you think about all of this?
Well, I mean, I said it yesterday. I'm like, I told you guys, I am psychic. I know when players are going to come out and saying something. Jimmy watched yesterday and he was like, you know what? Britt's right. Like, I'm just going to cancel everybody's flight and not have them come. But no, honestly, I think we can all collectively say we've seen some of the best basketball we've seen in a long time in the bubble. And I do believe it's because they haven't had distractions. And Even they always tell football players, like the day before a game, they're not like allowed to have sex or anything like that because they want them to like not be relaxed and comfortable. They want them to be like mad and like agitated and annoyed and all this kind of stuff because that's going to make them play better. And I think we've seen really good basketball right now, and really it's not even 2 months. Like, and if you make it to the NBA Finals game is supposed to be second or third week of October, I believe. So literally there's teams that are probably going to be going home in a week and a half anyway. Like they probably could have went without their family there. But I remember the very first week of the bubble when we talked about Jimmy Butler was up in his room working out. He had weights up in there. Everybody was getting like, who is in there bouncing basketballs and doing all this kind of stuff? Jimmy Butler was, like, and he's been all about it. And you can tell since he has gone to the Miami Heat, he's literally, been such a leader for his team. Like he's taken this team, and let's not remember the Heat beat like the 3 seed. They were like the 6 seed going into this. They're not like the number 1 team that was supposed to just win and be great and be in the second round. They've been playing really well or really good basketball, and it's the leadership of him. And then he has a couple really young guys behind him, like there's not a whole lot of stars on that team. Obviously, like guys like Bam have had, up for most improved player this year and stuff like that. And Kendrick and all these guys have been playing well, but like he's really led the force for that team. And I think having that energy and focusing on this is my team, my guys, and this is what we're going to do. We all know when he was talking about fighting or sticking up for his teammates and nobody says that or nobody treats my teammate like that and all that kind of stuff. He's really just been enveloped, and that is his family right now. It's his team, and his goal is definitely to win a championship, and it shows. And it's been showing since day one inside the bubble. When security was called on him for bouncing the ball.
Jackie, what's your reaction to hearing that he's looking at the bubble as this months-long extended business trip? Is that a good perspective to have for him?
I think it's definitely a good perspective. I mean, I kind of echo everything that Britt said. When we know kind of all the negativity that has surrounded Jimmy Butler kind of throughout his career, and then he lands in Miami. And I was just reading an article this morning about how I think we all know about Miami and their rigorous training. Like you have to train before training camp. I think we know that Dwayne Wade even opted out of that. And then you have to run like back and forth. And you have to do it in 10 minutes. And then you have a 2-minute rest. You have to do it again. And Jimmy failed that. And then he was fully expecting to see that be the main headlines, like, oh, he can't get ready. But that's not what happened there. Instead, he had the support of his team. He had the support of his coaches. So I don't think he is at all wanting to let anybody down. I think he's happy where he is. We've heard him say that, in previous situations, he's said what he said. Maybe it had a few 4-letter adjectives in there and people felt some type of way about that. But here in Miami, he says what he says and nobody trips. Everybody can respect that this is basketball. This is how he communicates. This is what he does. So I don't think he wants to have like an extra element in there. Right now, I'm gelling. I'm grooving with my team. I don't need anybody else. It's me and my team. We out here. We about business. This is a business trip. We trying to take care of business. We trying to win. So I applaud him for taking this stance. And I think that other people probably should. And I think that we are going to immediately know who should have taken that, because I think we're going to see a little shift in some play once some family gets in there. So I think he did the absolute right thing in this.
Yeah. And mind you, yesterday, that was a career high for Jimmy Butler, not just like a game high or career. That was a career high game for him yesterday, which is amazing.
Yep.
It definitely shows that he is taking all of this very, very seriously. But personally, I know that if I were in his shoes, I would probably struggle being away from my family for that long. And Chris, that kind of leads me to my question for you. Do you feel that there could be a mental and emotional strain later on athletes like Jimmy who chose to not bring anyone into the bubble, or do you think that they'll be fine throughout all of this?
Oh, I think it depends on the person. And for specifically Jimmy Butler, no, I don't think so at all. I think Jimmy Butler is just built like that, and other players that decide to do that are built like that. Now, I don't echo the same sentiment as Britt and Jackie. I don't think it made a difference whether they bring people in or not. I think this has definitely been the best basketball, but I think that's more so towards the fans than like personal family and stuff like that. But as far as players, I always have said that it matters who these people bring in. That is also the big thing too. So for Jimmy to decide not to bring anybody, I'm with that. Like if that's what's going to help you out, cool. If you prefer to do that, then rather than bring somebody you love to be there because you're just feeling so lonely, but you'd rather have nobody with you because you know that that's what's going to help you play, then I'm with that. I'm not saying that everybody's supposed to bring somebody in. I just feel like I think it wouldn't matter either way to have people in or have people out. But for people like Jimmy Butler, because I'm sure there are other players that are going to do the same thing, that aren't going to bring anybody. I think they know that if they're not going to invite anybody, that they are definitely going to be able to handle it. Not everybody can, and that's fine. To each their own. So no, I think Jimmy Butler would be just fine. He has the right mentality as it is right now. Like Britt just said, we saw it last night. He played just fine. But even though he said he don't have anybody there for him, Pat Riley was in attendance, and that's him and Pat Riley have grown a really good relationship since they joined teams. So he did have one fan there for him, but regardless, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, and to your point, Jackie, I think it was you who said this. We're going to find out soon which players really should have adopted the mentality. Yeah, so
somebody going to come in wiping sleep out of his eyes.
I was really sold his room too, because yesterday how I talked about how each player only got one, even though they could bring up to 4 people, not including kids. I want to know who he sold his room to. I'm sure he got a lot of money because players were like, "Hey, you got an extra room? Can I get that room though?" And I'm sure he's like, "Sure, you can."
Nah, somebody that's the coffee room. That's the shop. That's where the shop. That's where he's doing business through.
Yes, it's the coffee room, like
room. The coffee room. Yes. He got like a little sign on the front. Nah, man.
If I'm gonna pay $20 for this coffee, I need a place to sit comfortably. Right. So I'm gonna do it in my extra room.
Nah, I'm with you. He's getting his money, but I think right. He's gonna charge people to stay there for the night. That's it. Right.
$20 for the coffee, $5 if you sit in the room. Boom.
Java Jimmy's room. Java Jimmy has now got a storefront at the Orlando. Right. All right, you guys, let's get into the second need to know news story. So Game 7 between the Utah Jazz and Denver Nuggets is going down today. Let's just talk some predictions really quickly. So obviously, Donovan Mitchell has been killing it in the postseason. Well, he and Jamal Murray both have been killing it. They've both had multiple 50-point games in this playoff series. Jamal's really elevated his game to the next level. He's averaged 34 points in games 1 through 6 on 58.5% shooting. So what are the predictions for tonight? Jackie, I want to start with you. What do you think is going to happen?
So you guys know, starting into this, shut up. Let me finish. You know that starting this, the first thing that I said is I wanted Utah to win this because I just wanted Rudy Gobert to be vindicated in some type of way. I wanted him to, that show the relationship between he and him that everyone said was strained between him and Donovan Mitchell. That was all fake. And they've proven that. Also, I'm on team Donovan Mitchell. We're going to get into that later about, something that he did for the family of Jacob Blake. So I'm all about that. Y'all know that I try to take the moral high road whenever possible. And I just like Donovan Mitchell in general. But
I was going to say, we all know what?
I take the moral high. Look, it goes petty, moral high road. Petty's higher, but moral high road is equal.
So it's hard to get. All right, I get it. I think it's petty first, then moral high road. But sure, whatever you want to say, whatever.
Look. Let me bring my hands down so you can see. I said petty. Look, let me move up. Petty, moral high road.
Nah. Okay. All right. Continue. Go ahead.
Petty definitely trumps moral high road, but I wouldn't be such a. I wouldn't be such a fan of LeBron James if I didn't admire him simply because he takes the moral high road 90% of the time. You guys know that. But nonetheless, I think that for me, I said all that to say Chris is right. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with my home squad because I think Jamal, I said that yesterday, Jamal Murray, his post-game speech literally had me in tears because I could see his emotion. I think we live in a world now where I'm really happy when men especially express their emotion. And he tugged on my heartstrings. He had me crying a little bit. Britt the teary-eyed one, not me. So the fact that he got me kind of teary-eyed, I was like, I'm gonna have to ride with Jamal. So I'm going with Denver.
So, Chris, I want to hear from you too. What do you think is going to happen for tonight? Who do you think is going to happen if anyone? Fill me in.
Oh, okay. So Denver has finally played like Denver, like a third seed, almost wanting the second seed. Sorry, I don't know. I just feel like, oh man, the Jazz played so well in this series, and what the Jazz did so well leading up to the last two games, I feel like has disappeared. But I feel like there's still that chance that they can find it. And I know, obviously, Donovan Mitchell's been playing great. But like Jackie had said, Rudy Gobert has been playing really well in this series defensively and doing his part for getting everybody open with his screens. That's a very big skill that people don't talk about enough, are screens that get these players open, and Rudy Gobert's doing that. But at the end of that last game, man, it just Quinn Snyder not making any adjustments for Jamal Murray. We saw Rudy Gobert getting mad at his team for just small little. It just seems like their feathers are ruffled a little bit. So I'm a little worried that they're not going to turn that around in this game. But I'm going to stick to my guns. God, and I think it's going to bite me in the butt. But I'm going to stick with the Jazz. I think the Jazz are going to power through this. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to have a monster night. I think the Jazz is going to their defense is going to be a big key tonight. And I think we're going to get some more help from like Jordan Clarkson and the others tonight for us. So I'm going with the Jazz winning Game 7 to go and play the Clippers and to get beat up.
Well, hopefully that's
Wait. Can I ask a question? If Denver wins, do you think the Clippers are going to beat them up too? Is the beating going to happen either way?
Beat up yes. I just feel like there's too many holes that the Clippers going to expect. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to be fun though. Does
it not matter then who wins? If they're going to get beat either way.
I answered my
drink
question.
that tea, Chris. Drink the tea. Drink the
tea. of Chris's faith in and optimism in Ben Simmons and the Sixers, so we'll see.
She's bringing up old stuff, Chris.
I deserve it. No, I deserve it. You right. Stupid.
If I take shots,
and didn't
I have to take shots at Chris too. But Britt, I want to hear from you. What's your prediction for tonight?
All right, so I guess I'm the one that's going to split it here because we have 1-1. So I'm going to break the tie. And I'm really the only one that has a dog in this race because whoever plays and wins is going to play my team. So I want the best team to play against my team and win, or do I want whoever's just going to be easier for my team to beat to win tonight, right? Obviously, in my pre-predictions at the beginning of round 1, I said I had the Nuggets winning in 6 or Game 7 now. And then today, before I had to do my predictions for today, I was like, okay, let's look at this both series season with the Clippers and both teams. We have not seen the Jazz. All in the play are all in the bubble, and we have not seen the Jazz since like December 28th. We played them 3 times. We played them like one of the first games of the season, and then we played them in November and December. We have not seen the Utah Jazz since December, but out of those 3 meetups, they did beat us twice. Now we go to the Nuggets. We played the Nuggets 3 times as well. Clippers have 2 of them, and one on August 12th, and we beat the crap out of them, and we didn't have our whole starting lineup, not even close to it. So I think I'm going to stick with my original thing in the Nuggets, and I just hope it doesn't bite me in the butt, because then if the Nuggets then go on to beat us in the next round, I'm going to be really sad. So I the Nuggets, I don't know what the Jazz is going to look like against the Clippers, because we haven't seen them now in months. We haven't played the Jazz in 9 months, so I have no idea what the energy is going to be between the 2 teams. So I don't know, but I originally said the Nuggets. I still stick with that, but my real answer is whoever the Clippers can beat easier is who I want to win tonight.
And who is it? Did you answer that question? Who
I'm about to say.
It's so hard because I don't know what the Jazz. The Jazz beat us pretty good earlier in the season, but that was 9 months ago. So I don't know if that's the same Jazz team that's going to come up. But we did beat the Nuggets really good 2 weeks ago, so I don't know. I have Nuggets. I'm gonna say no.
I love this.
I love you too, man.
I always just hate when it's like, okay, but I don't want to pick somebody that then goes on to beat my team. So it's hard. It's hard.
I think you don't think it's a little easier. I do know you haven't seen the Jazz in 9 months, but this is a bubble. You can literally sit and watch these teams play. So even though you haven't seen them, you've seen how they respond or lack thereof when we're talking about how they respond to Jamal. So I don't know if just because you haven't seen them that equates the same to like if we were outside the bubble. You know what I mean?
With Patrick Beverley, if Beverley in the mix for this series, which is still a question mark, I definitely think we could easily beat Jazz or the Nuggets. But with Patrick Beverley out, I think it's easier for us to beat the Jazz than the Nuggets, if that makes any sense. I think the Nuggets they seem to be coming out like dogs a little bit like the Clippers do. So I would love to see that series. And I think it would be easier for us to beat the Jazz in certain situations. But I don't know. I think the Nuggets have an answer more for Patrick Beverley as does. So.
All right. So you're going with the Nuggets. Final answer?
The Nuggets.
Okay, Nuggets, final answer. She nervous, though. This is the best part. Wait, Devin, who you got? Who you taking? Devin.
You're muted.
We didn't hear any of that.
We didn't hear none of what you said. There you go. You were muted.
Okay. Yeah. I said Nuggets. I don't know why that happened.
All right.
So
Across the board. And 3-1. Yeah, I'm the Jazz guy.
Yeah. Chris?
So that means Denver's going to win because does anyone want to recap Chris's record so far in this bubble?
Does anybody? No. Hold on. That's not true. Hold on. I recovered on Sunday.
I am perfect in all my games this series. Or both. Eastern Conference, I was perfect. In West for the Lakers. Oh, no. That one I messed up on. That one I said it was going to go to Game 7, and it was a sweep. But the Clippers one I won on, too. So.
Yeah, I started off bad, but I put all these games in Game 7s. Stop. Don't do that to me. Okay, yes. Don't sit there and try and call me Charles Barkley. I recovered, okay, in my last few games. All right, don't do that.
I would never call you Charles Barkley.
Chris, you are on your way to redeem yourself, but you're not quite there yet.
I'm on my way.
So tomorrow,
I'm on my way. We'll talk.
We'll find out. So that game's going down tonight at 5:30.
If you don't win this one, I think tomorrow, maybe just stick to being a 2K guy. And you don't even come
No. I'm not playing that game. Nah. Y'all over here being so disrespectful. But I'm all right. No, my record ain't as bad as y'all make it. The thing is, y'all, I feel like a superstar because y'all like to blow up my loss. So you don't talk enough about my wins. I'm not gonna let that fly. No.
Let me just say this though. We did do an Instagram live. What was it on Sunday? Chris was pretty close in his scoring Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And he was pretty close on his predictions as far as scores. Close. He was. Close.
Like I said, he is himself. He's on the road to redemption. Hasn't quite made it yet. And I think tomorrow is going to be the moment of truth.
Guys.
Yes.
We got betting do like under-overs, but you can't do like straight up win-loss. You just
no.
Chris, you know what? I'll let you end the whole discussion. Go ahead, take us into the post-up. I'm handing it to you now. You've been through enough.
Yeah. Got for post-up. Fuzzy edition with your boy, Chris. The disrespect. But no, I get it. I understand. I picked the Sixers, and I deserve it. I think that's really what this all comes down to. I put faith in Ben Simmons and the Sixers, and then because that blew up in my face, now I look like a crazy person. So I get it. It's all deserved. Anyways, on that note, we talk about one game that led to or is going to lead to another Game 7 in the Western Conference, and that is the Thunder and the Rockets. Now, I don't care who you are. I thought the Thunder was going to put up a fight, but I no one predicted that these two teams would be going to a Game 7 because a lot of people had the Rockets in some way, shape, or form competing to, or at least trying to compete for a championship this year. But let me tell you something. After last night's game, I got a lot of questions, and we'll see what happens if they win and they go and face off the Lakers. We will see those questions be answered. But let me tell you something, though. Chris Paul is on a vengeance tour. We talking about Rudy Gobert. Chris Paul is on a vengeance tour, and he is so happy that he got matched up against his old team because now he is just letting it fly, and he was doing everything, or he has been doing everything he can to hopefully upset his former team. And we also talked about the, sort of kind of probable beef between Chris Paul and James Harden. But if the interviews and him saying to himself wasn't enough, how about this stare right here by Chris Paul? Is this enough? I mean, is that not enough? I mean, it's so much. Chris Paul looking right at James. James is looking past Chris Paul. But Chris Paul looking right at James Harden. Like, you want all this more. If you can see the actual video, they lined up for a free throw. Everybody else boxing out ready to go. My man Chris is looking away from the backboard, looking right at James Harden. Look, Chris Paul, playoff Chris Paul is so much fun to watch. He is locked in right now. That's a fact. I can't even say the Rockets are going to walk away and possibly win this series. I think it's going to be a fight tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that game. But, man, last night's game was fun. Chris Paul has been playing out his mind. 28, 3 for 6 from 3, 10 for 18 for, like, Chris Paul just been like, I don't know what fountain UT got in the bubble, but he been playing out of his mind. So we'll see what the Thunder do against the Rockets. Now we have a little bit of this is a post-up, I don't know what we're gonna call it, not a throwback. No, this is like an answer to an original post-up because we talked about Tacko Fall doing many different things, but specifically learning how to swim. Now we saw Tacko trying to teach himself how to swim, and it was funny. He was blowing the bubbles, and it was a cute little moment. Like Tacko, like, all right, keep doing. But now, and this character finally put down the phone, as well as Jaylen Brown, his teammate. They are now helping Tacko Fall learn how to swim, and they are putting on a Tacko Fall swim class. As Jaylen Brown and this character are helping him out. So like, he's just.
This is embarrassing.
And I'm not even mad because get him some floaties. He's trying, but this is just a sight. I don't know if you guys know the Titanic theme song, right? I don't know if you guys have been on YouTube or you hear it, like somebody playing it on a recorder and it's really bad. That's what this looks like to me right now. Just like somebody who learned the recorder yesterday trying to play the Titanic theme song. That's what this is embodied right here. But my God, look at here, and he's trying.
I don't get what's taking him so long to learn how to swim, because we did a story about him taking a class at the Boys and Girls Club in like November, and he was taking a class with a bunch of little kids. That was in November. Like, how long does it take my guy to learn how to swim? I don't get it.
He was doing his little practice.
He was learning in the shallow end, and I'm telling you, they needed to throw him in the deep end.
That's true too, though.
And his arms are hitting the bottom. It's probably throwing him off the whole. They need to throw him in the deep end. I'm telling you. I'm not even kidding right now. I'm being dead serious about this.
I feel so bad because you're right. You're 100% probably correct. That's why his legs probably not kicking fast enough because he keep kicking the floor and it's recovering. Oh man, Tacko need to be put into the deep end for sure. That poor guy. But hey, at least his teammates got his back. So I guess that's the biggest part of all of that. But man, he'll probably figure it out. Hopefully, I don't know. But we were talking about players bringing in family members and whatnot. And maybe this might not be a great example because his team proceeded to lose game 1, even though they're the number 1 seed in the East. But it doesn't matter because the adorable level is through the roof because little Liam Antetokounmpo made his way into the bubble looking like Giannis's twin, and he's excited. We've seen him in the what's it called, the virtual stands. We've seen videos of him watching TV. We've seen all this stuff, but Liam finally made his way into the bubble with Mama Mariah to watch Daddy play. But unfortunately, it's proving to Jackie and Britt's point that it might not be the best thing because even though Giannis played pretty solid, the Bucks didn't look great as they gave up a lead, and the Heat ended up ultimately winning game 1. But come on, I don't care. This right here is adorable. Look at him. Look, he's like his twin. Like, it's crazy. But cute moment. Oh, look at the freeze frame. Oh, look at little Liam. But they might need you out there because they didn't have Eric Bledsoe yesterday, and they need another point guard because George Hill wasn't cutting it. So Liam, suit up, my guy. Suit up. Anyways,
Yeah,
moving on.
put it up.
Yeah,
right. You don't see the uniform?
But that's a technical foul because he's wearing the same numbers as that. You got to get a new number.
Oh, right.
That's
right,
technical foul.
right.
That's technical foul. That's
You can put a half after it, and then it's fine. Put a half after it.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
Yes, 34 and a half. Yes. Yes. That would be adorable. We're going to get to another adorable reunion in the bubble here in a little bit. But first, we have to talk about Kevin Durant, who I have no hate for this. I know people were giving him some hate because it's like, oh, Kevin Durant should never admit this and blah, blah, blah. But Kevin Durant was asked the question of who he thinks was one of the most clutch players that he's ever played against. KD answered that question, but then also went in to explain how much he feared this certain player. Here's the video.
And the best clutch money player.
Kobe I was scared shitless of Kobe late in the games.
I had no problem with that. Like, okay. I mean, has anybody watched Kobe Bryant play, especially in clutch? I don't know. But people were killing him. Maybe it's just because Kevin Durant. Some people are like, oh, Kevin Durant shouldn't be admitting this and blah, blah, blah. So I got asked the question to you guys. I mean, there's so many variables around it, but I want to start with you, Britt Johnson. Do you think that Kevin Durant, like, should he not have admit that he was scared of another player regardless of Kobe Bryant's passing, or do you think that, I mean, his statement was just valid and we shouldn't be thinking anything of it?
I have a very strict rule on this. If the person is still, you do not admit anything like that. You never say
That
anything
I
like
agree
that.
with.
But if you're already retired, then I think it's okay to say something like that because then that's just
Right.
giving people their flowers. Unfortunately, in this moment, Kobe's already passed away. But even players that are alive, give them their flowers while they're alive. Tell them that they were the best after they have retired and you're not playing against them anymore.
And that is the biggest thing. You see, I completely co-sign that. Yes, if he had said that about James Harden, then we'd be having a different conversation. Because, yes, you're still competing against him. It makes you look soft and look weak. You're 100% correct on that. But people were giving him crap. A lot of the responses were saying, you never admit that about another player that you played against. No wonder your team kept losing because you were so scared. And all kinds of craziness. But, yeah, no, I agree with you on that sentiment. Yeah. And, come on, we've all seen Kobe Bryant play, especially in that fourth quarter. Rest in peace, Mamba, because, yeah, man, he was definitely scary. And it wasn't even just the fourth quarter, all damn game. Anyways, but back to the cuteness in the bubble. Fred VanVleet, we know his good luck charm was his son that was born last year during the finals where he had to leave, it was the finals or Eastern Conference Finals. Regardless, it was during the playoffs where he had to leave, be there for the birth of his son, came back, and he turned into superhuman Fred. Well, it looks like his good luck charms are back because his daughter and his son both made their way into the bubble. And guys, let me tell you something. Just hold it back. Okay, put on your player shades because you know you might shed a tear because it's adorable. It's adorable. It's adorable. So here comes the video. Oh, we got here. Yeah, she's so excited.
Who's that? Oh, so sweet. Oh.
Yeah, she's so happy. Oh man.
Is that Daddy? Are you guys?
That is adorable.
Yeah, that's stupid moments, stupid families and kids and.
Chris got them new daddy tears going. That's the
oh
Chris
man,
that
man. I felt that one. That was close. No, that was adorable. But he's already. And Fred VanVleet's been playing well. So the Celtics and the Raptors played today, and Fred VanVleet's already been playing well in the playoffs right now. But now the good luck charms are in the building. Now we talked about some people might not play well with their family in the stands. I don't think Fred VanVleet's one of those people. So we might see him go for 50-9 and add him to the list. But we'll see what happens with that. Or maybe the complete opposite will happen, and then Jackie and Britt will look like even more of geniuses. We'll see what happens. But that was an adorable moment. Gosh, I saw that video and I was just like, and I scrolled past real fast. I'm like, all right, I need to be sad. Knicks, what's going on with the Knicks? Anyway, next one. Brandon Ingram. Now, Brandon Ingram, he suffers from a more severe case of this than I do. I mean, he has there's sleepy eye syndrome, and people who know me, I get talked about because my favorite player is Tracy McGrady, and people always make fun of me saying that I watched so much Tracy McGrady when I played basketball that I developed the sleeps and blah blah blah. Haha, hee hee. But there's a whole other level of sleepy eyes. There is where you look like you are just high 24/7. I feel like J.R. Smith has walked into that realm, and Brandon Ingram is probably the king of that realm, because yesterday when he was accepting his Most Improved Player of the Year award, it was hard to tell if he was all there during the speech, because Bi was just resting high face, like he just looking like that's looking like. Okay, can you ask that question again? That's what that face looks like. Oh, what was that? What'd you say? Can you ask that question again? Now, it didn't help that they actually did have some kind of like technical difficulties when they were talking when he was talking to the Inside NBA guys. So I was just like, oh man, just get Bi off the screen. Get him off the screen. Give him his warning. Well, stop. It's not looking good. Get him off. Get him off. But yeah, it's funny, and but congratulations to him. I think it was well deserved. I think we talked about it. It was crazy. Even though I think Luka should have been in the conversation, Breadhead was the first to mention it. I didn't think he was going to finish top 3, but he did. He was in the finals for sure. But shout out to him. Shout out to Bam Adebayo, who was definitely a close second for me. But Brandon Ingram definitely deserved that. Bam should have won?
Yes, Bam should have won. They actually did a poll, and they said they had a fan poll of who was going to win. Bam got 40% of the first votes. Luka got 30%, and Brandon only got 20% of the votes. So nobody really thought Brandon was going to win.
Brandon get 20%? That's disrespectful.
That's what happens.
He has like 1 more assist this year than he had last year, 1 more rebound, and like 3 more points. Yes, I get he's a better leader now, and he's like, he's starting with the team more, and he's like playing, but he was also playing on a team where he just didn't fit very well. I think it's a difference between Most Improved Player and you were just playing with the team you didn't fit with. Like, he's not. Stop it. Brandon shouldn't have won.
I don't know. I like Bam. I'm cool with second, but I don't know. I think I'm with Brandon getting that. What happened when the season was going on because of that gap? No. Look. He got resting high. He can have that one. But no, I think he did. He had a great jump. I mean, yeah, Bam Adebayo definitely did too. But I mean, you're right. You're completely correct on the fact that Lakers didn't fit. Went to a team where he actually fit. So therefore, it made more sense. He looked like the second overall pick that he actually was. So you're right. But regardless, still improved from how he was looking with the Lakers. So technically, that still hits the criteria. So I don't know. I'm with it. But if Bam had won it, I wouldn't have been upset with that either. Just Luka. Anyways, no shade. Don Luka, I'm with you. Just you ain't no. Hey. I'm just saying. Anyways.
But I heard it.
Yeah, just the conversation. Anyways, moving on because I got a really dope. No, I'm playing. But talking about somebody who definitely has been stepping it up in so many ways than just basketball. I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell, who we know has been very vocal with everything that's been going on in the world out of basketball, from the jump when the protests began to him continuing it in the bubble right now. Donovan Mitchell has definitely been at the forefront of a lot of the conversations that we talk about here on the Fumble, and he just keeps one up in himself, and he decided to there's a whole story behind it, but basically decided to I don't want to say donate, but give $45 to a scholarship fund for the kids of Jacob Blake. $45,000. What did I say? $45? Did I say $45? $45,000. Okay, well, $45,000. If I said $45, my bad, my fault. No, Donovan Mitchell, $45,000. But it's really cool because it's more than what he's doing is he's giving $45,000 from his proceeds from his new shoe from the season, the Don issue number 2, Don issue number 2s. He's giving away $45,000 of proceeds from his sales of that shoe, to the point where Adidas wanted to jump in on the same thing, and they're going. So Jacob Blake's kids, their scholarship fund is going to be a total of $90,000 because both Adidas and I almost called him Don Luka, Donovan Mitchell are giving $45,000 to the family, and I think that's huge. That's really, really huge. That's something that Donovan Mitchell's been talking about a lot in general. Was just education and stuff like that before any of the protests. So that's something he's always been very big on. You can see a lot of his shoe colorways are all based around that. He has a Crayola crossover that he did with them because proceeds for that will be donated to school funding and stuff like that in a different situation. But so it was really cool to see him do that. It was a really dope gesture. I'm a huge fan of this. Like I said, I'm a big Donovan Mitchell guy, and this adds to the legend that is Donovan Mitchell on and off the court. So props to him. Props to Adidas. I've been repping 3 stripes for my entire life. Hence Tracy McGrady. So I love all of it. The entire thing. Feel good story. I'm a fan of it. So shout out to all of them. Now, from one story about money going somewhere good to another story where there's just a lot of money on something that I don't think should be worth all this money. And I'm talking about my guy Josh Gordon's Super Bowl ring. Now, for those who are listening, you guys are like, wait, Josh Gordon got a Super Bowl ring? I thought he was on the Browns. No, if you don't remember, he was on the Patriots for a little bit. He didn't play. I mean, he played for the Patriots, but he didn't play in the Super Bowl game. But he was definitely part of that Super Bowl team where he has a Super Bowl ring. It got auctioned off. And when I tell you guys how much, unless it's already showing on the screen, I can't see it. Yeah, this thing auctioned off for, I'm not going to say $138. No, $138,000. $138,000 for a ring, a championship ring for a player who did not play. Now, again, I'm a Flash Gordon fan, but at the same time, that is a lot of money for this thing to be auctioned off of. 1 and 2, who's the fool that bought that thing for $138,000? Like, I'm trying to think of all the ways that you can sell this. Like when he finds it, like I know he's probably going to resell it to somebody else possibly. But what does the tag say? Josh Gordon Super Bowl ring. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm looking at them like, wait, Josh Gordon? Wait, Josh Gordon? Wait, did he got a Super Bowl? Like, no, I don't know. To me, it's just crazy that went for that much. But maybe I'm the outlier on this one. Jackie Ray, talk to me. Do you think that makes sense just because it's still a Super Bowl ring regardless? Or help me understand this.
I mean, you and Britt co-signed on that stupidity yesterday of the big ticket, item because it was jewelry, and it's valuable. All the diamonds that are in that damn Super Bowl ring, and it's
so regardless still a Super Bowl ring.
Right. I'm saying keep that same energy. I think it's a stupid purchase regardless. I thought the big ticket item was dumb as hell. I think this is dumb as hell. But if we're calling it an investment, let's keep that same energy and let's say it's an investment. That's all I'm saying.
Got you.
But the Super Bowl rings only are worth like 40 or 50,000, I believe. Like
that's what I thought.
It's still a Super Bowl ring. It's rare. But Devin, where are you at? Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, that threw me all the way off. I was like, the hell?
I have a lot of trouble aligning myself in the camera because it's all opposite. So it's hard for me. I was just a little too far over.
I just think it's super rare. It's one of those things that we don't see very often. There's literally people who play their whole careers and never get one. So I don't know. It's a rare thing. So yeah. It'll still appreciate in value.
Yeah. And it doesn't say it's Josh Gordon's ring on it. Like the ring. If it
does, that'd be hilarious.
The rings come plain if you want to add your name to it, but the rings don't come with your name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be mad as hell if it said Josh Gordon on the inside.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So in the future, somebody can lie and say this is Tom Brady's ring.
Tom Brady's ring.
Right.
Damn. You are so right. You just gave so many people some ideas right there. Well, on that note, I'm going to end off, post up with another crazy jewelry story, and that's the end of me.
All right. Thank you very much. Jackie, I'm with you on that one. I thought the necklace yesterday or the chain, whatever it was a ridiculous purchase. I think this is bad, way too much. I'd rather buy a house. That's where a house or I don't know, something else last a little bit longer. You can get use out of it. Anyway,
indeed.
On that note, what we not gonna do? Yes.
Oh, see, I got the yes side this time, right? I got my TikTok is stepping up. Okay, you guys. So this one, we're gonna start off on a sad note, and then we're gonna go back into some stupidity similar to what Chris was talking about. But what we're not going to do is pretend that I wasn't right. I said off top, if the players were going to go into the bubble, they needed to go into the bubble knowing where they live, knowing what country they live in, and knowing that another hashtag was going to happen while they were in the bubble. And then if they did that, they needed to be prepared to play through that. So I kind of stand by that. I don't want to say I was disappointed in the Bucks, because at the same time, I think Britt and I have both been on the same page. Like, however you process that information, I'm definitely with you on that, because there is a certain amount of sadness that even I feel that when I look at I think this morning I saw that 45 was co-signing on the white kid that shot protesters in the street, because he said if he hadn't done so, he would have been mauled by protesters. Yep. So when you see that, and then you see thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people also co-signing that Jacob Blake deserved to be shot 7 times in the back simply because he had warrants, and that they thought there was a knife in the car, which the police did not know there was a knife in the car at the beginning. Let's just be clear on that. So they didn't know that when they shot him. But to hear people who don't look like me say, hey, this guy deserves that. This guy deserves to literally almost be murdered, which there was intent. You shoot somebody 7 times in the back, you trying to kill him. So to hear people say that, that's a lot. That's a lot to go through emotionally. So now I don't fault the Bucks for feeling the way that they did. And I also, now that we kind of have a deeper insight into what went into that decision, I applaud the Bucks even that much more. Because when they went back into the locker room and we were wondering if they were going to boycott, what they were going to do, because at first we didn't know. All we saw was the pictures that no one was out on the floor. And in that moment, when we were all kind of wondering what was going on, what the Bucks were going to do, they called Jacob Blake Sr. They called Jacob Blake's father. And Jacob Blake Sr. said he was sitting in his son's hospital room, who was heavily sedated and handcuffed to a bed. That he was sitting there and he saw the team walk off the court, and he's kind of like, okay, his son was sleeping. So he took that moment to leave. And as he was walking to his car, he gets a call from the Bucks and Giannis. And he said the call immediately made him cry. Giannis started crying, and Giannis told him, you made me cry in front of my whole team. But he said that the team said, what do you need from us? Like, what can we do to help you? And all he said was just send me positive vibes. His son's, like we know, is fighting for his life. He also thought a jersey from the team would kind of make his son's day. They sent him jersey. Everyone on the team, including the coach, signed it. And now he just wants everyone to know that his son's life does matter. And I think that that's so unfortunate that we have to explain that to people. There is a thing called due process. Police do not get to be judge and jury, and this man's life does matter despite a warrant. And that's crazy to me. But he said that this gesture from the Bucks really made him smile, and I just kind of want to show you a piece of that video. So, Leo, could we get that up there?
But when I saw the rest of the teams, and then the WNBA, and then the NFL, and then the Major League, it was, all I could do was smile. And tomorrow, I'll share so many stories with my son. It's my day to go in tomorrow, and I'll talk his ear off, and then I'll make him sleep. He'll go to sleep. Then I'll start talking as soon as he wakes back up.
Mr. Blake, if I can call you big.
That's this video. Again, Britt's the one that cries on the show, but I literally cried during this video, because to see this man have a smile on his face, and he's happy that he can tell his son all these stories about talking to Giannis and what they're doing for him, and the money that Donovan Mitchell has donated to his kids, and to see the joy on his face despite seeing his son, who's been shot 7 times in the back, sedated and handcuffed to the bed, is a level of joy that it's perplexing to me, because I don't know if I would be that forgiving. But that's the thing that I kind of want to, ask the Fumble Squad, because I do feel like when we're talking about throughout history, when you just watch the videos from the 60s, when you're considering slavery, and when you're considering all that we've gone through, Black people as a whole are very, very forgiving. And I think that what we're seeing now is just kind of gross, because despite that forgiveness, people are still making excuses for what's happening. And I personally have said, I don't think that this country is going to change. I don't think that you can find your foundation can be on hatred and racism, and then all of a sudden you change, unless you're going to completely destroy the foundation. If we're willing to do that, then yeah, I think we can change. But until then, no. There are signs that there is some change along the way. California is trying to consider a bill that would consider reparations. Here in California, the Ravens sent a letter to Senator Mitch McConnell to bring the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to the Senate for vote. But to me, this is an election year. So is this all posturing? Chris, I guess I'm going to ask you that for me, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like I said a couple days ago, we're 157 years into this asking. So when you see the joy in this man just for this gesture, but knowing that his son is fighting for his life, like what kind of emotion does it bring into you? And how much faith do you have that we are at the beginning of seeing some real change?
Oh man. See, it brings happiness and sadness because of what you said at the top. Because we are very forgiving, and I think God, it brings sadness because I know how sad that is for us. Because I know I probably if I'm in his shoes as the dad, I'm probably the same way. I think I'm happy he's alive. Because that's what's the biggest thing. Unfortunately, how it happened, what happened, where he's at, my son is alive. And then on top of that, for him to be represented and loved for and being as taken care of as he has been by the NBA, not just players, not just teams, the NBA, and like you said, players in the NFL and stuff like that. Like those are the kind of things that it's like you're just in a place of at least. That there is something that is going right, and there's right for my child. So I understand that, but it's so sad because you're right. There should be more anger. Like, cool, like I'm happy about this, but what happened here it's going to happen again. We need to do something about this. Like you would expect him to probably be more angry, and that's the other thing. We don't really see this side of any of these situations very often. Unfortunately, more times than not, they don't. The Jacob Blakes, they don't survive. You know what I mean? So it's just So seeing this initially, I felt it. So like you said, it was very heartwarming. I was very happy to see how well the dad is handling it and how proud and how thankful he is. But then it's just the sadness just comes down because just like this is just such an outlier. In a situation like this. So that's just how I ultimately felt about that. And to answer the question about what to expect, that again, my pessimism comes out with that. I'm hoping, my hopeful optimism comes out. I'm still hoping, and I'm hoping that these kind of things that we are, even though it's very little, we're going in the right direction. Very small. I'm hoping that is, the trajectory that we continue to go. But again, just seeing that, we get more cases like this than we do any kind of change. It's hope. It's just hopeful optimism at this point still.
Yeah, it's a sad thing, especially like I said, I haven't been following my own advice and staying off social media. So when you see, the only people that seem to be truly outraged, I got to follow my own advice because I'm not going to say that it's all because obviously, like Devin's been very vocal. I have another girlfriend who's been very vocal, but the overwhelming majority are making excuses for this type of behavior, and it's. I feel like Black people are suffering from a form of PTSD because it's maddening and it's sad. But I'm glad to see Dad is in good spirit, and I'm glad that the Bucks could make a really difficult time easier for him. But I'm going to move on to this next one and get us onto a happier note before we get into Brit's takes. But let me just say off top that one of the reasons why I don't think that this country will ever really change is because common sense is not that common. So we already talked about this $138,000 for a Super Bowl ring. I think it's okay because, Britt said jewelry's an investment, so I'm co-signing on this. But let's take a look at this tweet from Golden Auctions. Leo, if you can get this up, that tweet up there. Okay, so remember we talked about this not too long ago, and they were trying to sell a rookie card for millions of dollars. I think it was a 1.5 million or something like that. And then they wanted to charge you $100 for shipping. Don't know how much this is going to be shipping wise yet because the bidding hasn't closed on it. I actually really like this card because Giannis looks super skinny. He looks super young. He doesn't look like the Hulk smash type guy we know him to be now. I personally would buy this card if it was $1,000. I would buy this card, but that's not how much this card is. Bidding opened on Monday. When it closed on Monday, it was $560,000 at the end of the day. I checked it at 10:30 this morning, just before I came on. It was at $660,000. I'm sure it's gotten more bids since then. They are expecting this card to go over $2 million for a rookie card. $2 million. And considering the trajectory since, bidding started at 200,000 on Monday. We're now at 600,000. I think that's easy. It's easily going to get to $2 million. I've got nothing else to say to that except for why? Why? If I'm going to spend my money on something, yes, I know in 20 years this card is going to be worth maybe 4 or 5 million, but I don't need to wait 20 years for that to work. I need to make my money work for me right now. I don't understand this. If does anyone on the Fumble squad see the logic in spending $2 million for a rookie card? Anyone?
Nope.
Devin, anyone?
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
All right. That's all I got.
I'm not answering this question. I'm not.
$2 million. It's in a nice case, though. It is in a nice case. That probably cost about $15. But
I'm in the wrong game. I'm in the wrong game.
Yeah, I need to go dig through my brother's my brother has a shoebox of old cards. I'm gonna have to go through that and put it in a $15 case and sell that bad boy. But anyway, that's all I got, and it is time for Brit's takes.
Brit's takes.
All right, guys. So, hi. So the Clippers have officially made it to the second round of the NBA playoffs. They're waiting to see who they're going to go up against. Obviously, it'll be the Nuggets or the Utah Jazz, as we talked about earlier. Luka, I think, did a little more damage than he was anticipating doing with his words about Marcus Morris and, just kind of insinuating that Marcus Morris did whatever intentionally. I know Kristen asked me about it yesterday because he probably knew how I felt. I don't think the original one was with intent. And I think the second one was just, oh, you want to say I'm doing something intentional? I'll show you what intentional looks like, and which is what happened on the last game, which is why he from the game. So I don't think the original one was intentional, but I think the second one was like, oh, you want to start something? Okay, let's do it. I'll show you when I'm actually trying to hurt you. And that's what he did the second game. So obviously on social media, everybody's been going at Marcus Morris. Even Trez has said a bunch of people came at him for calling Luka a white boy or whatever. You guys can figure out what it is. But he said people were calling him the N-word with the ER at the end. People were saying they were glad his grandmother died, this, that, and the third. It was like a whole thing. So now we have Jason McIntyre, I think his last name is. I'm sorry, I didn't even write it down. But he is a Fox Sports host or whatever. And he said this on the radio yesterday, Leo, if we want to get that up. You can see why Doc Rivers has turned these Clippers into goons who are playing a thuggish brand of basketball and clobbering superstars. He did this the only time he's been successful with the 2008 Celtics. Jason, my guy, I actually was trying to figure out what you look kind of whitish, but you look like you could be ethnically ambiguous. Personally, it doesn't matter. We all know there's black people that are racist and white people that aren't, and all this kind of stuff. That doesn't matter to me, so I didn't really care to do too much digging on it. But in this climate right now, where literally black people are trying to fight to just be looked at as not a threat and not a criminal by police and Karens, for you to call the Clippers team, which is all black guys besides one guy, goons and goons and thugs, is like insane to me. Like just yesterday in Los Angeles, I don't know if you guys heard about it, there was a shooting. Two police officers shot a guy. They pulled him over while he was riding his bike for a vehicle violation or something. I don't know what that means when you're riding a bike. I have no idea. When they pulled him over, they got into a little tussle. This last weekend, we have seen tons of videos of white guys getting into tussles with cops, and all of them have walked away from that situation. So they get into a tussle, and the guy drops his bag on the ground. His bag is on the ground, and the police see a gun inside of the bag that has been dropped on the ground, and then start shooting the guy. Both of them started shooting him and killed him. He was roughly in his 30s. So there were protests all last night in South Los Angeles, and the gun is on the ground. The police officer said, this is coming from the sheriff deputy's office. This is not, I'm taking a quote from somebody down the street that saw it or whatever. The police officers are saying that the gun was in a bag and it dropped on the ground, and they started shooting at some point after that. So I'm confused why you started shooting at somebody who actually didn't even have a gun in their hand. You guys saw the gun on the ground in a bag. So I don't get why you had to, because of it. But literally, this is what we're going through. This is the climate that we are continuing to go through, because police officers always want to say that Black people are all thugs, we're all threats. There's kids can't even walk around. Trayvon Martin couldn't even walk around with a hoodie on without somebody in the neighborhood thinking he was a threat and want to kill and shoot him. So this is not the time to do this, Mr. Jason. I don't care what, there's no way this was in any kind of good intention. First of all, talking about the Celtics 2008 Celtics, when they won the championship game, the time Doc Rivers, they won with them, and calling them thugs and them whatever too, when they're playing in a situation in Boston with a bunch of racist, super racist fans. We talk about it all the time at Foxborough, at the Garden or whatever, like TD Garden. There's always these situations in Boston. We talked about it with the baseball teams too, of racism with the fans and stuff. Like, the fans had this MO to be whatever. Kevin Garnett's this, Paul Pierce is this, Ray Allen, which I don't know how you call Ray Allen a thug, but Ray Allen was a thug. Perk was a thug. Like, all these guys were these crazy big thugs and all this kind of situation, and they go and win a championship for your team, and then you guys want to like them for that second once they win a championship. So to now compare the Clippers to then that team, who I don't think they were thugs in the first place, and say because Marcus Morris has an incident with a player, now the whole Clippers organization is just a bunch of thugs and they're playing. No, this is called playing basketball. This is what everybody's done. Kobe's been like this. Kobe and Michael Jordan aren't thugs either, my guy. Like, I don't understand how you can literally sit and just say playing passionate basketball is being thugs. The Clippers have not been known to be a dirty team. Marcus maybe has some issues sometimes. I don't know. Nobody else in the Clippers that everyone's just like, oh, they're dirty players. Them Clippers guys. Kawhi, he's the dirtiest of them all. Like, he's just a scandalous, shady player. No, people don't even say that about the Clippers. Like, for you to now say that, like, just because Luka wants to come out and say, Marcus Morris is this like shady player, and I never want to play with a guy like that or against a guy like that again. Like, I'm so scared in my boots, Luka. Like, now Luka started this rhetoric that the Clippers are these like goony, thuggish guys, and it's sick. Like, we're not going to do that. Not in 2020. We're not going to sit around and call any basketball player who's playing basketball and playing with heart and passion. And, the Clippers have a motto this year. It says street lights over spotlights. They play street ball. That's basketball, that is good basketball. It's fun basketball to watch, which is why the Clippers have such a following now. I know some of y'all are bandwagon fans and stuff, but like, I'm just really disappointed at this rhetoric that now is being brought out about the Clippers being thugs and goons, especially in the climate that we're in, when we're literally just trying to be considered humans to a lot of people. Like, I'm sorry, that's not okay to say. Like, you should apologize for your statement, first of all, and you should sit back and think about what you're saying. I don't follow this guy, so I don't know what he normally posts. I don't know if he's one of these like, guys that always say stuff like that Clay Travis guy or whatever. Like, I don't know if he's like that, but this is not okay. I am not comfortable with this. The Clippers, yes, they're my team, but I don't think most people would feel comfortable with saying that the Clippers are goons and they're thugs. And yeah. My question, Chris, what do you think about Jason saying this in the climate we're in? Do you think that this is negative not only for our culture, but for basketball as well?
Definitely negative, more so for the culture, and a little bit for basketball. But again, it's just like anybody we talk about in these instances, and it's crazy that these guys are they're on payroll, to be able to say things like this. It's just they're getting the clicks, the same way we talk all the way about Jason Gridlock. Even though he may not be with Fox, he still has his new show now on a different wherever it is, and he's able to say what he needs to say, and it is very frustrating because he's over embellishing. And I think I don't want to put it on Luka, but I see what you're saying, and it's a good point that with Luka feeling how he felt about things that happened, then that gives the room for the Jasons to go out there and fly with it the way he did and turn it into that's just the Clippers now. The Clippers are just full of this and that. Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of, players that play hard and, play the way that they play. The Pacleys, like you said, Marcus Morris's, the Trez, that's just how they play. But then to turn it into what he's turning it into, it's too far and it's not necessary. So yeah, I definitely, it's sad. And I definitely agree that it's not a good look for the culture and it's not going to help at all.
Yeah, Jackie, would you say that it's more in his choice of, because we all know the Clippers play hard, they play gritty basketball. His use of saying the word thug and goon is more a problem than anything else?
So thug has long since been a media's way to get away with using the N-word. They've morphed those two into being the same for a long time. So yeah, his statements were intentional. He meant what he said, and so this one's difficult. It's like you said, the climate that we're in. He knew what he was saying. He meant what he said, and the fact that Luka's white. You know what I mean? And then it's that simple, and it's crazy to me because like you said, Marcus would do this to anybody. He don't give a damn what color you are. Like if it's this is about ball, and so this was one of those things where it wasn't a color issue, but because there's a black man acting a certain way towards a white man, here's somebody who sees the opportunity to let his true feelings about what he feels about black people come out. And I don't care what nationality he is. He's definitely a racist. So it's unfortunate. And I just want people to know that we are not fooled when you say thug. We know you mean the N-word and you're just trying to be slick, but we ain't fooled by that, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this gives my Clippers even more ammunition to be as goony and thuggish and whatever y'all want to call us and as winning as possible, because it makes us win some more games. Okay.
My dad used to say there was one specific incident. We were at a gas station. Oh, I'm lagging. Can y'all?
I'm lagging.
Anyway, my dad used to say. My dad used to say we were in a situation in Denver, and there was this guy who kind of called my dad every stereotype and racist name in the book. And my dad told him, he's like, "You got one more time, and I'm gonna fulfill every stereotype on your behind." So I hope that the Clippers do the same.
I love that.
All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up our show for the day. We are going to be back again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, tap the bell for notifications, subscribe, leave a comment below. And I didn't get to say this before because the lag was all weird, but Britt, thank you so much for that. Britt's takes, the audacity of somebody to say something like that. I mean, outrageous. People need to just get a grip.
Yes, that's Clipper Nation now.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, okay. I guess we're leaving. Bye,
everyone. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. That was great.
That was very goony of you, Leo.
Right?